Hello, I'm Elaine Smith, the Artistic Director of the Clamour Theater Company. We're holding these creative conversations with playwrights, with actors, with directors, so that you can find out more about Clamour Theater and about the artists who work with us. Welcome to this edition of Clamour's Creative Conversations. Today, we're talking with Molly Wagner, a playwright who was with us for Clay and Water 2020, our second annual Playwrights Retreat. Welcome, Molly. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. So why don't you tell our viewers just a little bit about yourself, your bio, what you're up to these days, anything you'd like us to know?
Yeah. So I grew up in St. Charles, Illinois, which is a western suburb of Chicago. So always had Chicago right down the road in a way from me. So I grew up in that area. I went to school at Ball State University in Indiana. I went to school, I studied acting there. And after graduation, I moved back home for a little bit. And then I moved into the actual city of Chicago itself. I worked with some theater companies, did some acting, did some writing. And then after that, I moved to California. I was in Los Angeles for a little bit, about a year and a half. And then I just moved to New York at the beginning of the pandemic. I think I got it like 2 months before everything kind of shut down. So, but I'm still here and I'm still eagerly waiting for Broadway to open back up and theaters to open back up. So that's kind of where I've been bouncing around. Um, and I've always done theater. I grew up like I think I did like my first community play when I was in the fourth grade. And so it's always just been something that I just never had to really think twice about. It was always when one show ended, there was another one to jump to. And so when it came time to decide what I wanted to do for school, it was kind of like a no-brainer. I wanted to go to school for acting. But I always was doing writing on the side. So that was always like a second passion of mine. Like when I was little, I was always writing plays and writing stories. And so when I got to school, um, we had some like student run theater companies that really encouraged new work and encouraged actors and theater educators and students from all across the theater department to write their own pieces and get them performed. And it was just a fun energy because you could pull people from anywhere who were excited to tell these stories, and they're like, yeah, I'll come do this play in this classroom after hours, like this is fine. So that was like a really fun way to kind of stretch my storytelling. And I got to take some playwriting classes and spend a semester working on a new musical and working with a group of writers. So after college, I kind of knew that I wanted to kind of explore both paths. Um, and I'm very fortunate that I've gotten to do that. And when everything kind of shut down with the pandemic, it was nice being able to still have writing. Like I could, even though I'm stuck in my room, I still could write. And with Zoom and the technology today, like getting some readings has been fantastic, and meeting other people across the country through technology has been really, really great. So that's kind of where I've been at. So I've just been working on. I've recently gotten into writing more short plays. It's amazing seeing the different kind of things that you can do with theater. Growing up, the standard was always, oh, you have this like 2 hour epic that is like about these famous people and all this like Shakespeare was like when you think theater, it's like, well, it's Shakespeare or that's it. Shakespeare, Arthur Miller, that's kind of what you got. And then, now getting to know that there's so many different avenues you can take. And there's a 1 minute play festival. There's 10-minute play festivals everywhere. now you can write specifically for a play for Zoom specifically. There's immersive theater, so you can write for people interacting with the audience, like theater for young audiences. There's so many possibilities, so it's kind of cool, like testing them out and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, great. So, tell us a little bit, the play that you brought to Clay and Water was called hashtag Casey and Tommy Get Hitched. So
Hmm.
tell us a little bit about that play and where it sits now that it's.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, hashtag Casey and Tommy Get Hitched was a play that I had started working on. And it's about this group of friends who all graduated college together. They were in like a creative writing program together. And several years, about 6 years later, they've all kind of gone their separate ways, but still kept in touch a little bit. And one of the guys from their group is about to get married. So they all come down for the wedding weekend. It all takes place in the hotel lobby where the wedding's going to happen, where everybody's staying. And the thing is, though, that the groom he comes from like a very conservative family. So he came out in college. But then now he's about to get married to a woman. And so the friends are kind of thinking that they need to interfere, or they need to stop this from happening because he's not living his true self, and they need to make sure that he's happy. But as the play kind of progresses, you start to understand that like these differences within the characters, and kind of what it means when you once functioned as a group and you knew everything about them. But once, distance comes into play and other aspects of your life take over, and, people change, and, you think you're really progressive in one area, and you think like you're the savior, but maybe you need to just listen to people once in a while. So that's kind of what it navigates. Um, and it was amazing getting to do the reading with Clay and Water, and hearing audience response, and getting to work with actors who got to bring these characters to life and kind of test out, okay, what's working, what's not. I got some fantastic feedback after that. And then also a lot of the playwrights that I had met during the retreat introduced me to New Play Exchange. So I was able to put my play up on New Play Exchange. And from there, I've gotten a couple of theater companies have reached out. They've read the play, they found it on New Play Exchange. So then they were doing some Zoom readings, a theater company or acting and directing class. I got an email one day, and the teacher said, "Hey, we've been studying your play because it fit the class size. Like the play is written for 2 men and 3 women." And their class, that was the exact breakdown of their class size. They were in college, so they were looking for plays closer to their age range. So they're like, we've been studying your play as like an acting exercise. Do you want to like listen and see what's going on? I was like, this is so wild. So that was amazing. That was really cool. So yeah, from there I've just been submitting it to a couple places. A lot of rejections too, like as far as the course. But it's been cool kind of seeing it grow, and um seeing other people get to kind of hear the story and read the work. And it's been really cool watching it kind of go on its own little journey.
That's great. What I mean, that's really great. And it is a good play for college age-ish, or slightly out of college. So
Mhm.
so it probably will get a lot of attention in that audience range. Do you remember where you heard about the retreat, and tell us why you decided to apply?
Yeah, I think I found it online. I want to say I saw it on the NYC Playwrights blog.
Could have been. Yeah.
I feel like that's where I saw it. And that's the one that I check like religiously. I love the way that they break it down, and it's like really user friendly. So I think that's where I saw it. And um, what I was excited about was because I had just started working on this play and it was fresh in my mind. I and then having a whole week to really develop it and spend time just like entrenched in this piece was really
Mhm.
exciting for me. um, and getting to work with other playwrights. I think that was the big thing is so many times when you're working on a play, I've got like I'm working on it and I have some friends that I'll like have them read my plays and they're fantastic, but your scope just becomes kind of limited because you're writing in your own bubble and then you send it out to people, but they're also still in your bubble. So having the chance to come to Florida, which is, geographically it's different. It's just a totally different place for me and getting to know these writers from all over the country and getting their feedback and like even just things as simple as dialogue and certain words that in my mind like they're words I use all the time and they make sense, but then having somebody who's like I don't know what you're saying, what's going on here, and just having that opportunity to expand my audience and collaborators. That was what I was really excited about.
Yeah.
And just like from the breakdown too, everything there was everything was split up and like so like you got the reading at the end and you got to talk to the students, which was really cool. I learned so much going to the school and hearing the students and also like being able to sit and listen to the other playwrights and they'd say something and I'd be like, oh, I never thought about that before, and things that I incorporate now into my own like writing and the way I approach the work. So
Okay,
yeah.
good. Good. So now tell me, do you have a favorite play of your own?
Yeah, I
It can
was
be produced or not produced, doesn't have
yeah.
to be.
Yeah, I think right now my favorite one, the one that I am really excited about was called The Calorie Counters. And that one was it was like my first full-length play that I had written. I had been working on it for a while, and it centers like people who are large, people who are joining this like weight loss program, and it kind of hits the nuance of kind of how we feel about our bodies. Because so many times in the narrative, especially with like larger characters, you get these extremes. A lot of times too, you have like plays or movies that are focused on them like hating their body and trying to lose weight. And so even though my play does kind of start with this woman being asked to join a weight loss program so that she can fit into a dress for her sister's wedding because they don't make size like there's size,
Yeah.
most designers only go up to a certain size anyway. So it kind of starts there and then it kind of evolves into more about like the nuances of how we feel about our bodies and what I really wanted to do with that piece was center large actors, and give them the space to be vulnerable and be funny and be sarcastic and be strong and be romantic and like all of these ranges that most of the time, um the mold is that if you see a larger actor in a role, they're the character actor, like they're the mom or the character actor, and that's so I kind of wanted to break out from there. So that's where that play kind of sprang from. And it's yeah, that one I think was like really important for me, and it was my first one, and so it meant a lot to me. And now, yeah, I think that's the one.
Okay. Has it been produced?
It has. I got a small like developmental production in Chicago. It ran for I think 4 weeks, I want to say. So that was really cool getting to see it,
Yeah.
getting to see it brought to life, and getting to see. Yeah, it's weird. Like you see a set and like actors playing these characters that were in your head, and then they're just there on stage. So it was pretty cool.
That's great. What's the name of it?
It's called The Calorie
Oh,
Counters.
yes, you said that at the beginning. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Um, okay. So now this is something we ask all the time is tell me if you can, 3 plays that are by other writers that are favorites of yours and what you like about them.
Yeah. So the one play that I had recently read, I don't even know if it was recently anymore, but it's been stuck in my head for a really long time was it was called uh This Happened Once at the Romance Depot off of the I-87 in Westchester, I think was the name. And it was by Gina Femia. Femia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I found it on New Play Exchange. Um, and it was she has a ton of plays on there, and a lot of like just really interesting concepts, and I'm excited to read more of her stuff, but this was the first one that I picked up. And I was just blown away by how like small and tight the world was, but yet these characters were just so like fresh and developed. And I like after I read the play, I was still thinking about them. I was still like thinking about these characters, and even though we only get like a sliver of their lives, um it was just built so beautifully. So I'm excited to read more of her work. Yeah, that's the one that's been like stuck in my brain. Another one of the plays that I saw this, I worked on it a really long time ago, but it was doing some really interesting stuff, was called The Big Meal by Dan LaFranc. And that was the first time I had seen a play like if you're reading the script, it's the formatting is different because all of the characters are kind of speaking at the same time, and it all takes place at like this table at a restaurant, and it's about this family through generations. But when you go to dinner with a large family, you have like grandpa and your uncle having one conversation, and then like the two little cousins having another conversation. And so as an audience, like you could watch the show again and again, and depending on where you sit or who you focus on, you get a different story.
Uh-huh.
And that was cool because it was really laid into naturalistic dialogue, which I love realistic natural dialogue. I love when characters interrupt each other. I love when they overlap each other. So even just opening the script and seeing the breakdown, the way they had it was like the characters were at the top of the script, and then their dialogue, it looked like poetry or like artwork, and then their lines were like
Hmm.
layered. It was cool. It's cool just to like read and try
Yeah.
to like figure out. But
Uh-huh.
that one was interesting because it just did some interesting stuff. And then the last play I think I saw that like blew me away was Cambodian Rock Band by Lauren Yee, I want to say. What's her name? But yeah, that one was incredible. If you ever get a chance to see it, or it's yeah, it was amazing. It was informational, it was moving, the characters were all really interesting. She did a great job of that moment where she kind of leads you into knowing what's going to happen, and where the audience takes like a collective gasp before they've even said like, oh, by the way, this is what's going on. It's great. It was great being like in the audience for that show, and just feeling the story and the emotions just kind of hit everybody at once. So that one was really stunning too.
Neat. Okay, good. Well, that's great for our viewers. If you would like to read hashtag Casey and Tommy Get Hitched or other plays by Molly Wagner, you can find them on the New Play Exchange website at newplayexchange.org. And for Clamour Theater Company news and events, check out our website at clamourtheater.org or follow us on Facebook as Clamour Theater Company. We post all of those URLs in the descriptions below. And if you'd like to see more interviews like this one, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's so exciting. We have a YouTube channel. Molly, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today and for letting our audience get to know something about you. We look forward to following your playwriting journey, and we are really glad that you are part of the Clamorous crowd.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.